So Trish, what have you seen from your team after 2 games?
I've seen a pretty solid first half, and I've seen a solid second half. So our assignment now is to put 2 halves together.
You talked about the spacing in the first game. Were you as pleased with it and the communication on the offensive end in the second game?
I think we took some steps backwards, to be honest, in that second game. I thought we were a lot more impatient as far as letting the game come to us, trying to do everything from the first side. And I think our shot selection kind of became infectious in that regard. We took a couple early shots, and kind of that transpired with everybody doing that. So we'll get back to just the habit of working both sides of the floor and continue our spacing. But those are some signs that sometimes you anticipate early on in the season.
What are the good things you've seen about this team?
I think the good things are that I've seen are we're responding the right way. I think we're maturing in some of our mental toughness in that regard. The way we were able to bounce back and have a really solid second half, just adapting to the situation. I think we also have a lot of balance with this team. I'm really excited about the depth that we have at each position and the ability for a lot of different personnel to be a threat on the floor.
I guess kind of the opposite of Ted's. I mean, with these 2 games under your belt, what's the biggest focus you need to work on leading up to this first regular season game?
I think our focus right now is basically us. I think from the defensive standpoint, our priority in the fall has been to become better one-on-one defenders, and I still see we need a lot of growth in that department. Our ball screen defense, we're going to put a lot of point emphasis on how we defend that better. Collectively, but also individually with our one-on-one accountability there. So from a defensive standpoint, I just think we really need to keep drawing the things that we've already been making a priority and becoming better in those areas. And then from the offensive standpoint, I think we just need to continue to grow as far as our spacing and being consistent in that area, working both sides of the floor as a team. Right? I think one of the areas in dribble drive that we can develop a lot is doing a better job of getting a piece of the paint as the ball handler. And sometimes I think we're not as aggressive enough off the bounce. And so we'll do some one-on-one situations this week for that.
Has there been one gal that's maybe surprised you with her play this first couple games?
I wouldn't say one person. I would say that for us, Ashley has been the person that I think just shows her experience when she's on the floor for us. And I think Asha is the second component. In a perfect world, I'd have one of those 2 on the court at all times. You saw in the first 2 exhibition games, we played everybody pretty evenly, which was great minutes to get everybody involved. But I would expect us to still play a very deep bench. With our bench, I think they can bring a lot to the table. So you're looking at, coming off the bench, all kinds of people. Kayla DeWitt had a big game for us. Lexi Dawkins is still getting better and better every day. Those are 2 post players that I'm trying to find enough minutes for both of them. And then you've got some guards coming off the bench like Emily Allen, who's a huge spark for us. And you have Lindsay and Marguerite. So we've got a lot of different options, which is really fun. And I think this team's very unselfish.
Clearly the referees are calling a different game this year, a tighter game. How does that change what you do?
Well, I think initially what we saw from the first game and a half is we put too much emphasis on trying to adapt and focus on what they were telling us. And then finally at halftime of the second game, I just told them that we need to play aggressively because it was making, we were focusing too much on it and we really weren't defending. And so I thought we grew in regard to just playing our game and playing position defense, being after it, getting aggressive. And sometimes when you don't play aggressive is when those fouls occur. So I think we do a much better job growing and just playing our game and not over-analyzing the way the officials are going to call. Because we can certainly be an aggressive defensive team. And I thought our second half against Western was much better than the first half.
Can you tell a big difference in how they're calling games?
Absolutely. You're looking at the hand check, the hot stows, the arm bars. Those are things in the past that have kind of knocked the offensive player a little bit, whether it's just for 1 or 2 seconds, and now they're cleaning that up. So it is an adjustment, but at the same time, those are things that the kids, our players already know aren't the details that we're focusing on. We're focusing on what we're doing with our feet, anticipating being in the right spots and staying in stances, and we can definitely control those things from our end.
How nice is it to know you're starting out the season here rather than heading immediately out on the road?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, we have never opened up here since I've been here, so I'm excited to be here, get our fans behind us for that home opener. It's going to be a challenging contest. Northridge was picked third in their conference, and and they're going to have one game under their belt playing Sac State before they get here. And but at the same time, we feel like we'll be ready. We got another week to go here. We've prepared our team to breaking down this season, and the first breakdown of our season was the first 30 practices. And we hit that game. That will be our 30 practices under our belt. So those are 30 pretty productive practices that we should know that we've gone through the process the right way and set ourselves up to focus on the details in that game.